Welcome, guys.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello, students. Good to see ya. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and I appreciate you guys all
Cool.
being. So I'm going to go ahead and be describing some of what's going to be unfolding here today. First, before we do that, though, we're going to have some introductions. So my name is Isaiah Wyckoff, and I teach visual art and design and photography at iTech. And if Ian, you'd like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Ian Hurst. I teach pre-engineering and design at iTech Prep.
I'm Ines Kuna, and I teach communications and composition, which are both 9-10 English classes.
So Ines, would you be able to please describe what is iPrize, just for some context for our audience?
Yeah. iPrize is an interdisciplinary project that began in 2014, and it has remained a tradition at iTech ever since, and we run the show every 2 years. So in English class, 9th and 10th graders create persuasive speeches to pitch original products while they're designing these products and prototypes in their art and engineering and design classes. Ian Hurst, Isaiah Wyckoff, and I have the difficult task then of narrowing down the student submissions to 5 finalists. With the freedom to create whatever they want, every year the students present a wide array of products and within a wide array of topics. This year, for obvious reasons, we had to go virtual with our show. This is our first time doing this. There have been many challenges, but equally as many rewarding and collaborative moments. And we really feel we've come together more than ever, ironically, and overcome some odds to bring this show to audiences. So the show must go on, and here we are today. So thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, Ines. And students, I do want to say again that you guys are 5 students that we have narrowed down from a group of about 125 of you. So all 5 of you being here today is just a testament to the awesome work that you guys have done and the amazing ideas. And we really look forward to seeing all of your videos today. And it'll be exciting. And I hope it'll be encouraging to those that are watching. What I'd like to do right now is I'd like to have our judges go ahead and tell us briefly who you are, what it is that you do for a living, and that will give some context for both our students here, but also for our audience so they have an understanding of who is present with us right now. So we know we've got Casey Wyckoff, principal of LSW Architects. We've got Karina Scott over at Riff Creative Studio, Steve Craig with Vancouver Public Schools, and Ty Stober, Vancouver City Council, position number 5. I gave a 2-word description of who you guys are. If you guys wouldn't mind, though, describing maybe what it is that you do, that'd be great for our audience to hear. So Casey, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Great. Well, LSW Architects, we were fortunate enough to design the school that you should be in right now. As a principal at LSW, my main responsibility is to identify opportunities in the community that our designers and architects can help tackle. So we look for problems in the community, things we can solve, and also just things we can make hopefully great.
Awesome. Thank you. Karina, would you mind describing who you are?
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Karina, and I'm a designer with Riff Creative. And yeah, I primarily provide a lot of graphic design support to a wide breadth of projects, from web, social, product, events. So it's fun.
Thank you. Steve Craig, how are you?
Good, it's Steve. I work in the Vancouver School District IT department. I help Mr. Shekels. And I was probably there when they first opened the school, so you guys may have seen me around helping get things finalized and help you guys move into your brand new school.
Thank you, Steve. And Ty Stover.
Hello, everybody. I am on the Vancouver City Council. I'm in my 2nd term on the Vancouver City Council. But my background is in product development, marketing, sales. So I have an MBA and have I've worked in manufacturing, retail, distribution. So I have a very, I should say, a portfolio career across many different aspects of delivering products to customers.
Thank you, Ty. Well, I'm excited that we have you judges on board today, because really each of you guys and your roles in the community and in your profession, I think it's going to tie really nicely to what the students are going to be presenting today. So I think we've got a great crew of judges this year. Thank you so much for being here. I want to describe, really set the stage for what's going to be happening here today. So we are going to be starting in just a few moments, and we are going to be having student presentations occur alphabetically. And after the student's presentation, and that's going to include a 1-minute intro video describing what inspired them about to come up with their idea. It's also going to include an up to a 6-minute video segment where they are describing their product design. After that segment, we're going to go ahead and have a Q&A session where judges, you can openly be discussing, asking questions of the students. No other students will be talking during that time, please. But just the students whose product was being described, you will be engaging with the judges during this Q&A session. That Q&A session will last just 4 minutes, so pretty short. But really, when we have this Q&A session, just think about whatever comes naturally to you to ask the student. We really don't want any of this to seem forced, kind of see what kind of happens organically. It's always exciting to see when these Q&A sessions happen, because you can see the level of excitement within the judges as their questions start going, and there's like a lot of back and forth. So we will likely need to cut you off 4 minutes if you are continuing to talk and talk, which is all great, all good stuff, but we're gonna have to go on to the next student so we can kind of keep on track time-wise.
And this is going to be easy because Mr. Hurst has a timer. Ian has a timer on his screen. So just look at that if you have questions.
Great.
And I just want to jump in really quickly and bring a little bit more context into this. So I just thought of this now, but the students, they created their presentations prior to schools being closed. I mean, like like we were just finishing up presenting in class. So the videos that you're going to see, they created at home, all of it. So that's pretty cool, just a side note.
That's good. I appreciate you bringing that up, Eunice. I think it just shows, again, like the level of dedication that these students have put into this, that they're doing this in their bedroom, in their closets. They're trying to showcase this to our audience. So thank you for adding that. So we're going to have these periods of student presentation and then Q&A session, student presentation, Q&A session. In addition, first place will be receiving $300, second place $200, and third place they will be receiving $100. Thanks to LSW Architects for providing the prize money again this year. So thank you very much. There's a few different ways that you guys will be really thinking, you guys as in judges, a few different ways that you'll be identifying whose product will really rise to the top. And Eunice, did you want to go ahead and touch upon this for me?
Yeah, so we've never had a rubric in the past. We've always selected judges from various backgrounds that bring their expertise together to make kind of an informed decision based on where they're coming from. And it sounds like we have a great panel this year. And so some things to consider. So the marketability of the product and the concept. So if you've seen the show Shark Tank, you know, kind of thinking about, would this product be something that you could envision out there in the world? Can it work? And some other tips or things to think about, the way that I have instructed the students in English with the persuasion, we look at ethos, logos, and pathos. And so we look at the overall presenter's credibility, which is their ethos. We look at the logical appeal, which is the logos. Does this make sense? Do the facts back it up? Does it make sense how it works? And if you do have like questions, clarification questions, and you want to ask those during the Q&A, that would be like a perfect type of question to ask. And then pathos, lastly, is there an emotional appeal? Do we feel like this can really help our world? Things like that.
We're going to go ahead and begin. The contestant lineup is going to be Braden, Clark, Evan, Nina, and Olivia. They'll be showcasing their work to you guys. So Braden's video will play first, and then we'll have a 4-minute Q&A session after.
Hello, my name is Braden Alos, and my invention is a safer version of a stoplight. Now, my inspiration for coming up with this idea and inventing this is me knowing that there's people every day dying at car crashes at intersections when it's not even their fault. Their light is green, and another car runs the red light and hits them and they die. Now, we have all the resources to make a stoplight safer, but no one has taken action and done this. No one has even come up with the idea of making a stoplight safer. My invention is going to change lives. From now on, people will be able to drive knowing that they are safer on the roadways, and there's a less likely chance that they'll get in a car crash even if it's not their fault. Again, we have all the resources to do this. There's nothing that's holding back from creating this. The only thing that's holding us back is our own imagination. I came up with an idea that would keep roadways safer and allow people to drive safer and keep everyone else safe on the roadways. And we have all the resources we need to get this invention built and up and running on the roadways today. Hello everyone, I'm Braden Nalos, and my invention is the safer stoplight. The traffic light was invented in 1912 by Lester Wire. Its same simple design that was used back then is the same simple design that's used all over the roadways today. About 40% of all car crashes happen at intersections, and in 2017, nearly 1,000 of those car crashes resulted in a death. Imagine if someone you loved was killed in a car crash at an intersection, even though they had a green light. People are in a hurry, and sometimes they go through red lights when they think it's safe. We can't control other drivers. Even though you may have a green light, you might be in danger. My invention to the current stoplight will be a depth perception sensor that will be added to the stoplight that will be able to see if cars are slowing down. If a light turns yellow and the sensor sees that a car is not slowing down, it will not let the other cars go until it knows that that car is stopped or until it goes through the red light. Now, if it goes through the red light, a camera on the back will take a photo of the license plate and make sure that it's ticketed for running a red light and putting other people in danger. The reason I chose a depth perception sensor instead of a camera is because people might protest about a camera being on there because they want their privacy. Now, the camera on the back of the stoplight is fine because it's getting the bumper plate and the car, not actually the people's face. Here I have a little bit of a animation right here that shows you what it's going to be like. So that ball on top of the stoplight will be the sensor, and then on the back of the sensor will be like the camera that will take photos of license plates that will not get people's faces in it. It will simply just rest on top of the stoplight, and everything else will remain normal. On August 12, 2001, Natalia was killed in a car crash by a drunk driver running a red light. If my invention was there, Natalia would have been living today. She should have been with her family right now. She couldn't control the other person's driver. But if my invention was there, she could be living right now. This does not apply just to her. This could apply to you or anyone else you know. Since there's lots of people dying of car crashes a day, my invention can save the majority of those people's lives, and they can have a normal life and not have to suffer, and their family have to suffer because of this. Now, you might be wondering, people might want to take advantage of the system and run red lights knowing that they are safe, but like I mentioned earlier, the camera on the back that captures license plates and the bumper of the car on the back, if they run a red light, a camera will take a photo, not that person's face, so they don't have to worry about that. It will take a photo of the license plate, and it will send that into the government, and they can be ticketed for running a red light. This will also deter people from running red lights, so it will keep the roadways even safer. Now, you might be wondering cost. Well, it costs $250,000 to $500,000 to install a normal stoplight. That sounds like a lot, but don't worry. My invention does not require a full installation of a stoplight. All my invention needs is the depth perception sensor and the rear-facing camera that be installed. It costs about $5,000 per stoplight to install that. And there's 4 stoplights at an intersection, so this will cost $20,000 per intersection. Now, this stoplight invention can be placed on busy intersections with lots of crashes per year. It does not need to be placed on smaller intersections. So if there's an intersection that maybe had 20 crashes in 2020 or 2019, you can maybe put that on that rather than a stoplight that only had 2 crashes in 2019 or 2020. So selection of where you put it is also important. That will save money and it'll also save lives. Any questions?
So Braden, correct me if I'm wrong. So my understanding is the sensor, this really helps during the transition, when the signal's transitioning from one direction to the other. People running a red light when it goes from yellow to red, and it wouldn't release the other direction of traffic until it looks like the coast is clear, right?
Correct.
So do you know, but it doesn't look like it addresses somebody just running a red light, long after the light's transitioned.
Yeah, because most of the time people are on their phone, they're just not paying attention, and they don't see the light as it's turning green because they see it in the distance green and then it turns red without them noticing. So that's where the majority of the crashes happen, not people just trying to like speed through it just because they want to.
I guess I was wondering if you knew of the statistics that you cited. How many of those do they know of the 1,000 deaths? Were 500 of those during that first moment of transition, or were 900 of those, or were like 999 of those? I guess that would be something that'd be interesting to know.
I don't know the exact numbers. I know there's a lot more crashes at intersections, but only 1,000 of them resulted in a death. I can look into that later, but I know it's a pretty high amount. It said in the article that people are usually on their phones and they see a green light in the distance and then they just look down at their phone, and then as soon as they look back up, it's turning red or it's too late.
That's great. Thank you.
Steve.
I have a question. So you mentioned cars specifically on this sensor. How would it work with like smaller things like motorcycles, smaller vehicles, or even larger vehicles like semis or something like that? So would that also work?
Yeah, so the sensor is like, it puts out like an infrared beam and then it bounces off objects and goes back to the sensor. Originally, I used a camera, but I decided people don't like videos of their face, so I went switched to the sensor. So it can just see what the speed of the vehicle or object is, right? And if it sees that the light's turning yellow and the vehicle is speeding up or not slowing down and it's about to be too late, then it'll hold off to let the other cars go for another second.
Nice.
So it will work on small vehicles and motorcycles and stuff.
Okay, cool.
Ty, you had a question there.
Yeah. So you're disadvantage here and everybody gets advantage. Who's your competition?
I don't think that there's any competition right now because I haven't seen any type of invention that's trying to prevent stuff like this.
There's always competition. There's always competition. So let me ask a different way. What are the alternatives?
The alternatives could be to maybe put a sensor in a car that detects red lights, so cars auto stop. So if someone's thinking of that, that could be possible competition.
Okay. I think there's a big body of research that's been done around just increasing the length of the yellow light, and always competition is status quo. One last thing, have you looked into the legality of your you talked about there's this you create a perverse incentive. The lights, I can push the light because I know this thing is going to keep it from turning red. But you said that relies upon having the punishment of a red light or of a ticket. Have you checked into the legality of that in Washington State?
I know that you cannot have videos of people's like faces or like themselves without their permission. So the idea of having the back camera like facing down the back bumper plate should be legal unless they change a law and there's something now about bumper plates being taken photos of.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, judges, for that. I appreciate it. We kept right on time here, so this is great. We're going to keep on moving forward. Thank you very much, Braden, for presenting that to us as well, and thank you for your answers for this session. Our
You're
next
welcome.
contestant is Clark.
Hello investors, my name is Clark Hegewald and this is my product, Curb Hugger Stormwater Filter. Now, ever since 5th grade, I have been invested in learning about water. As a 5th grader, my class would take monthly trips to Burnt Bridge Creek where we would look at the overall health of the creek by monitoring phosphates, nitrates, which are things found in fertilizers, dissolved oxygen, as well as other things. From there, we presented at WSU Watershed Congress, and it was a really fun experience overall. This whole experience came back to me when I was planning my Eagle project with my dad. I wanted to do something about the oily water that I always saw at the side of the road when I was walking. My first idea was to filter it out using human hair. However, for obvious reasons, I had to find something else. Thank you, Sharks, and I hope you enjoy. Hello investors. Here in the Pacific Northwest, it rains. It rains a lot, yet it doesn't stop our plans for this day. We still have to go to work, go to school, go to the grocery store, and most people do this by getting in their cars and going there. Me, I'm under the age of 16, so unless I can find a ride, I have to walk there. Now, I see a different view than most people do in their cars. Instead of driving, I see rain like this. These are drops and spills of oil from cars. While they certainly are beautiful and fun to photograph, their consequences aren't as pretty. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, Americans spill 180 million gallons of used oil into our waters every year. This is 16 times the amount spilled by the Exxon Valdez oil tanker in Alaska. It was a tragic accident that resulted in the death of 250,000 seabirds, 2,800 sea otters, 300 harbor seals, 250 bald eagles, our national bird, 22 killer whales, and billions of salmon and herring eggs. And not only that, but it takes only a standard oil change, 5 quarts of oil, to contaminate millions of drinking water. While we have the pleasure of filtering our water, it costs money. In Vancouver and Clark County alone, an estimated 600,000 quarts of oil enter our ecosystem and eventually the Columbia River every single year. That's enough to fill 15 shipping containers full to the brim of oil. This oil enters our ecosystems when it rains. The rain picks up the oil that's on the side of the road and moves it to the sides where it then channels down the side of the road until it reaches a storm drain. Most people don't know this, but storm drains, or most storm drains, lead directly to watersheds like the Columbia River. My product aims to fix this problem of oil entering our watersheds. Introducing the Curb Hugger Stormwater Filter. It is a bag that you put on the side of the curb that filters out heavy metals and oils. It does this by using plants, a specific type of plant known as a hyperaccumulator. One famous example of a hyperaccumulator is the sunflower. My product uses a elf sunflower, a shortened version, so that people don't have to worry about it towering over the curb. Here is a demonstration of how my product works. So, as you can see, it sits on the side of the curb, and water enters the front of the bag here. This is the contaminated water with oil and heavy metals in it. From there, the root system of the hyperaccumulator brings up the water, as well as these oil absorbent beads that are commonly used in cleaning up oil spills help to break down and absorb the oils. From there, the clean water exits the bag and enters the storm drain. Here it is again. It sits on the curb and is easily removed and placed down. There are other products out there on the market that filter out oil and trash already. For example, this product here, as well as others similar to it, have to be installed and are expensive and require routine maintenance to be cleaned and maintained. Other products such as this are simply a drop bag, which drop into the storm drain to help filter out the oil. Nothing out there on the market filters out heavy metals and filters out the heavy metals like my product. Not only that, but my product has the aesthetics due to the sunflowers, which also help out in releasing CO2 from the environment. My market strategy is to market to both families, businesses, and local government. My idea with reaching out to local government would be, say, Vancouver or Washington State, as Washington is seen as a leader in environmental awareness and sustainability. After I get that recognition, I believe that it would be easier to infiltrate other states and market to the citizens there. I think that I could also go to retail and allow families to buy my product for, say, $200, where they could just easily take my product and put it on their own curb. I currently don't have a solid price estimate, as I need to build a prototype and have them tested, but I am really excited to hope to be able to do that. I really want to address this issue, and I feel like I can feel like I made some progress in our world. I believe that with the power of investors like you, I will be able to make my dream happen. And what all of my experience has done for me, Boy Scouts and my 5th grade experience, has opened my eyes to water and environmental health, two very big parts of the way that we live today and in the future. I believe that the environmental sustainability economic sector will continue to grow in the coming years, and so do others. Having walked to school for 3 years has helped me to realize to what extent this is a problem and inspired me to bring about a change. Investors, I would like it if you help me make that change. Thank you.
Clark, I'll start. So you hit on competitors. Thank you. These sunflowers, are they annuals, meaning that they have to be replanted every year, or are they perennials?
They are annuals, so they would need to be replanted. However, I am looking into other perennial plants that wouldn't need to be replanted every year.
Okay, because I'm also so in the original idea, what about the winter months?
Winter months, sunflowers are not in the winter months, and so we would need to find a different alternative.
Okay.
Hey, Clark, how long do you
Yes.
expect these to last? I mean, if you put it out in, say late October, early September, I mean, when do you have to replace it?
Last I checked, I would probably have to replace it after 6 months, and that would be the plant portion of it.
Okay.
For the for the oil absorbent beads, I would have to do some testing to figure out how long they need to replace it, and I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, cool.
How would this affect parking? Would people be able to park along these structures?
Yeah, good question. They would just park to the side of it just like it was a normal curb. I have checked with the city of Vancouver, and there is no legality issues about it, as long as it's removable so that they can access electrical boxes that may be underneath. And luckily my product is removable.
Hi, my name is Evan Gardner. I'm a freshman here at iTech Preparatory, a project-based STEM school. I've been going here since 6th grade, and ever since 6th grade, they've been assigning one-to-one laptops. Each student is given a laptop, and they're assigned a charger as well to go with their laptop. Since 6th grade, I've noticed a reoccurring problem of students losing their chargers because they lent it to someone else, left it plugged in a classroom, or they simply forgot where they put it. My product is called Red Carpet, and it is an alternative way for students to charge their laptops at school. I surveyed about 100 students from iTech, and about 8% of them currently didn't have a charger, and over 50% had lost their charger for more than a day, meaning that they probably weren't able to do homework that day. As an iTech student who has dealt with the stressors and struggles of both middle and high school, I wanted to reduce those percentages to zero. As I designed Red Carpet, I began to discover more and more uses for this product outside of the classroom. And now, with online work happening during the pandemic, it's become even more important for individuals to have access to a charge. Hello everybody, my name is Evan and my product is Red Carpet Charger. Red Carpet is a wireless charging pad optimized for laptops. That way it's more convenient for anyone who does a lot of work on laptops. Simply stick the receiver sticker on the back of your laptop and then rest the laptop on the charger and it will charge your laptop. To do this, inside the pad, there's a lot of little coils that connect with receiving coils that you stick on the bottom of your laptop. The receiver is simply two receiving coils connected to a cord that has adapters for different types of laptop plugins. And on the bottom of the Red Carpet Charger, there's a flexible solar panel as shown here. So you simply have to flip over the pad to charge the charging pad. But I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. So the individual model is geared towards someone working in an office or maybe a college student. They simply set this on their desk and they just put their laptop down and it charges it. It's super convenient. Also on the side of the battery, there's a plug-in to where you can just plug the basic computer charging cord into the outlet and use it basically like a portable battery. And then there's plugins here for plugging the charger into a wall if the solar energy isn't available. Collaboration model is geared more towards students like us at iTech who have one-to-one laptops and maybe they want to have a charging station in the back of the classroom. So a teacher could have one of these in the back of their classroom so that students don't have to bring their charger to school every single day and instead can just set their laptop on the charging pad when they need to in the charging station rather than bringing their cord to school. You can also charge things like phones and smartwatches and like AirPod cases and whatnot on this charging pad. So yeah. What Red Carpet would do for iTech students is help solve one of the biggest inconveniences for iTech students, which is just having to use chargers and associate with them. Constantly, students have to lend their chargers to friends and interrupt the class and wrap their charger and bring it to school every day. Red Carpet combines a lot of already pre-existing products for a lot of electronics and puts it all into a very versatile Swiss Army knife style product. It takes these sort of stick-on receiver coils with an inductive charging pad with a wireless, a solar wrap-up solar panel and a laptop docking station all into one product. And so it's super convenient for anyone who's using a laptop a lot. It's all these things put into one. In addition to this, it is self-sustaining. It has the solar panel on the bottom. And so there's a lot of different ways you can utilize this. The first one is just the obvious. You flip it over and you can charge it during the day. When you're not using it, just flip it over or maybe hang it up or something in front of a window. The other alternative, if for some reason your pad dies and you still need to keep working, you can plug in your laptop to the charger and just flip it over and use like one of these wireless solar panels like I showed on the last slide. And I also had this idea of maybe cutting the collaboration model internal parts right there, kind of like a fifth of the way in, so you can fold over the end and charge the Red Carpet collaborative model while you're using the laptop. So that's kind of a demonstration of an idea I had. And with that, there's other uses outside of just the classroom or the office because of this self-sustainability. So on this, the Golden Achars, which are these remote islands in Bangladesh, there's a lot of difficulty with some of the residents doing what's called stockpiling their diseases, where they will not go to the doctor because the nearest hospital is an hour-long trip on boat, which is expensive and a long time. And so instead, they just, whenever they have a minor injury, they will just deal with it and they won't tell anyone about it. And so over time, those will build up, and so they won't see a doctor until the case is incredibly severe. And so with something like Red Carpet Charger, we could power these laptops where they have these Skype programs called Teledoctor, where they can talk to doctors about their more minor issues rather than stockpiling their diseases. So as I developed Red Carpet, I sort of found more uses for it outside of just in the classroom. So not only would this work in a situation for like a remote island like this, kind of a very specific situation where they don't have electricity, but it also works for doctors who are traveling to the front lines of certain health situations where they might not have electricity and they need access to their laptops in a charge. There's already solar chargers for them available, but this is a more convenient and more portable way rather than having to set up like a station. And also in moments like these, like the pandemic, that 8% of students who didn't have a charger that I mentioned in the intro video currently don't have a charger for their laptop now that they're at home by themselves and don't have a way to get it back. So with something like Red Carpet, A, they wouldn't have had to bring their charger to school in the first place, or B, if they own Red Carpet, they've got a sustainable way to charge their laptop at home. And lastly, I wanted to talk about how Red Carpet is sort of like a platform. So it's something to build off of. There's a lot of other things we could add to it. For example, device sensing recognition. I set my laptop down, it knows which laptop I put down, and using something like already existing wireless HDMI technology, it just immediately connects to my monitor or something. Magnetic guides is kind of for if for some reason it doesn't line up perfectly, you can use magnetic guides to line up the computer to where the coils need to be. And maybe a hook or connector for a backpack, so you can stick the Red Carpet Charger, flip on its back to a backpack like this, wear it around and charge it. So say you're like walking from class to class on like an open campus, and then when you get back, you have a charged Red Carpet. And then tabletop model is an idea I had of maybe a step up from the collaboration model where it's a full table made of Red Carpet. It's a whole inductive charging tablecloth sort of thing. And so that is Red Carpet. Thank you for listening.
We'll have our Q&A session now with our judges. And Evan, go ahead and begin, guys. What were some initial thoughts that came to your mind?
So, Evan, thank you. Wouldn't I just forget the pad? I'm already forgetting my charger cord. Wouldn't I just forget the pad?
So I wasn't super clear in the presentation. I realized about my strategy for preventing losing your charger, but the idea is you keep the charging pad is owned by the school, and so it stays at the school. And so the students can leave their charging cord at home and never have to bring it to school. And so if they're at school and their charger and their laptop dies, they can just set it on the laptop. Because currently you'd have to bring your charger to school and find a plug-in and plug it in, and then people trip over the cord and whatnot. So,
how long does it take to charge the battery using the solar?
So that I don't really know because I haven't created a prototype or anything, and it's kind of hard to calculate that with the information I have right now. So that's a good question I can't really answer.
Evan, have you seen competition or looked at competition? And then also, what's about the cost of something like that?
Okay, so the competition was kind of demonstrated on that slide where I showed how mine is kind of a combination of multiple products. So right now there's nothing that combines all these ideas together. And so what Red Carpet does is takes these individual designs, these alternative competition type things like the solar pad that rolls up, or like an inductive charging pad, and combines them together. And then for the cost, if we were manufacturing in bulk with a bulk, what am I looking for, like sales, it would cost $90 to make it without the solar panel and about $150 with the solar panel on the bottom. So it's possible, if the cost is that big of a problem to sell, we could have a budget version where it doesn't have the solar panel on the bottom, but $150 for the smaller individual model.
Cool, okay, thank you.
Evan, I appreciated your comment about some of the other features as a platform being like at the tabletop, and your comments that it would be owned by the school, because as an architect, I was initially thinking, yeah, if this is like a built-in feature of the school, that seems like that would make a lot of sense. Like if students could land it kind of anywhere and it happens to charge it,
Right.
I think that makes great sense. And I have to say, I love the red carpet, that kind of first class experience. It just, I like the cleverness of the name too.
Thank you.
What are the dimensions of the individual carpet? And
Sorry.
I guess with that question, it's paired with, have you taken in consideration like the user experience of the white cord attachment? Would that interfere with your like ARM workspace?
That's a good question. I never really thought about that with the white battery on the side. It might. I would assume that it wouldn't, because for the most part, your arm probably wouldn't hit it too much. But like if you're left-handed, you can flip the pad around. So like if that's sort of the problem that you're hinting at, then there's that. And then for the dimensions, the individual one is a little over a foot long and a little over half a foot wide. And the collaboration one is a little over 4 feet long. I have the exact dimensions somewhere, but not here right now with me, so sorry about that.
Have you looked, Evan, have you looked into why inductive charging hasn't already been integrated into laptops?
I have not. There are laptops that have inductive charging, but it's probably because there's not a lot of products on the market out there that are built for laptops. Like there's the little tiny pads that are like this big for phones, and that's why all the phones have inductive charging. There's not a whole lot of charging pads for laptops. That would be my assumption, because there are laptops that do have inductive charging, so I don't think it would be a hardware problem.
Another interesting question to explore for you would be trying to figure out why Apple abandoned their inductive charging effort. They're creating their own inductive charging pad.
Right.
Difficult to get that kind of information, but chatter is always out there.
That's true. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your questions. Thank you, Evan. Great responses. And I've got to say, I really appreciate, I've heard this from all of our students so far, that when you don't know the answer, you just say you don't really know and you look into it. I just have to say I appreciate that honesty that comes out. I think everybody does. So thank you again. Our next contestant will be Nina and then Olivia.
I first watched a TED Talk, When We Design for Disability, We All Benefit, from speaker Elise Roy. I learned that many great innovations stem from ideas to help those who are disabled, and I learned to start thinking differently. Myself and many others are fortunate to have hearing capabilities to listen to music. However, deaf and hard of hearing individuals experience music in a unique way. They are able to feel the vibrations of music through touch. For instance, deaf performers like singers and dancers will perform barefoot on stage. I was inspired to create my innovation, soul music, intended to help one particular group, but I also designed a product extraordinary for everyone to enjoy. Hello, my name is Nina Uckman. I'm in the 9th grade, and today I'll be sharing with you my product called Soul Music. Soul Music are vibrating shoe insoles that allow you to feel music through your soul. Here's the prototype of Soul Music. Here is an exploded view of my product that shows the materials that I'd use. The first layer is fabric, EVA foam, the electrical components, molded EVA foam, a plastic shell, and gel. Now here's a more in-depth look of the electrical components. They are Bluetooth connected to a device to allow you to feel the vibrations of the music. There are also 2 coin vibration motors in each insole, and the vibrations change based off the different frequencies of the music. There's also wireless charging, known as inductive charging, for this device. The material cost to make soul music is approximately $65. I was planning to sell soul music for $100. With my product, anyone has the opportunity to enhance their musical experience with touch. It would be extraordinary to listen to music and feel the vibrations of the song simultaneously. As I've mentioned, hard of hearing and deaf individuals experience music differently. There are not many technologies to help the deaf experience music. Some will put their hands on speakers, take off their shoes on stage if they are performers, or just go to loud concerts so they can feel the vibrations of the music. I plan to reach out to local schools for the deaf with public funding. There I can test prototypes and receive further feedback. Then I'd be able to expand after recognition. Before quarantine and social distancing and coronavirus, I was in contact with the Northwest School for Deaf and Hard of Hearing Children, where I was in the process of going to receive feedback from them. I'd even been offered to sit in on their music programs, which I know I would have really enjoyed and loved and would have benefited from. Ross Mitchell, a senior research scientist at Gallaudet University, working in deaf research and education, said, 10 million persons are hard of hearing, and close to 1 million are functionally deaf, which is in America alone. Another statistic is that about 15% of Americans 18 and over, which is 37.5 million people, report some trouble hearing. Now, other technologies for the deaf to feel music through vibration have been made before, but there are some flaws within these products. One example of an alternative is the Vibeat. It is limited to the wrist and can be worn as a necklace, but there has been no further information on this product since 2016. The next is the Subpack. It is large and extremely uncomfortable, according to many Amazon reviews. Lastly, here's the Baselet, is once again limited to the wrist, and complained by many Amazon reviewers, it is not Bluetooth supported. This is why I plan to make soul music as a shoe insert. Deaf performers, like singers and dancers, will be barefoot to feel the vibrations from speakers through the stage. Soul music will be no extra accessory or an item to have to carry around. It is easy to put in and use at any time of day. You can simply connect to your phone or any electronic device to feel the music. Mandy Harvey has been singing ever since she was a young girl. She even planned to study music education at Colorado State University. Yet sadly, because of connective tissue disorder, she gradually lost her hearing until she was legally deaf by the age of 18. However, this isn't the most unfortunate part in her story. Is that because she lost her hearing, she gave up on singing and her musical ambitions. However, her father didn't let her give up on her dreams. Mandy Harvey would soon sing again with a tuner and by using her muscle memory. She would even soon sing on stage, one being at the 2017 America's Got Talent.
I don't feel the way I used to. The sky is grey, much more than it is blue. I will try, so I will try. If I would try.
Mandy, I don't think you're going to need a translator for this.
There is when she got the golden buzzer by Simon Cowell, one of the most difficult judges, and the golden buzzer led her straight to the live shows. The most amazing thing about this that really helped inspire me for this product is that she performed while barefoot on stage in order to feel the vibrations and beats of the music. Now, Mandy Harvey has gone on to many new opportunities, including releasing original songs, and she was recently on tour across the US. Now, hard of hearing and deaf individuals like Mandy Harvey could benefit from soul music, whether as entertainment or to help them perform. But I want to reiterate once again, anyone can use soul music to upgrade their musical experience. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you very much, Nina, for presenting soul music. Well, judges, our next 4 minutes will be on the clock here. What is time for questions for Nina?
Thank you, Nina. Have you seen Mr. Holland's opus?
No, sorry. I haven't.
That's a movie that everybody should see, but you definitely need to see Mr. Holland's opus. Look it up.
Okay.
How'd you come up with the $100 selling price?
So I like the components I use. This is a very vague, I would say, because I looked into like the electrical components that were kind of limited. They're not like, I didn't calculate like if it was like bulk sales, that sort of thing. And then I chose very basic items. So with a product like mine, to help those who are disabled, I talked with my mentor about this, probably like 30 to 40% what do you call it, like gain for my
markup.
Yeah. And so I said that the material cost was about $65, but I think I could definitely bring that down and then actually bring the $100 price down. That makes sense.
Yeah, I would actually say you're probably very much undervaluing your product, and that a pricing review would show your product would sell for quite a bit more than what you're proposing.
Yeah, because like with alternatives, they are a lot more expensive. So I guess like I was trying to want to sell on the fact that it was helping, it was targeted at a certain audience. So I was making it on the lower side.
Hey, Nina, were you thinking about it just for audio, or were you thinking about adding additional features like, an app tie-in for maybe running? So, once you passed a mile, then you could feel it in your shoe, or other things like that. Or were you just thinking strictly audio?
What I worked with, I was thinking strictly audio, but of course I could add those other features because those things have been done before, like even in the context of it being a shoe insole. So like, I feel like that's very possible. I just personally didn't focus on that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I think, well, just a comment. So something I love is that you have a really clear target audience, but also like I would want one. So I think it's got this like impactful target audience as well as broad appeal. Good work.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, judges, for that Q&A. Thank you again, Nina, for presenting your product to us today. Last but not least, our final contestant is Olivia. We'll be showcasing her videos now.
Hello, my name is Olivia Frizzell, and my company's name is Val. The reason I made this product was because semi-truck drivers falling asleep at the wheel and causing an accident is a real problem that is happening today. Thousands of people each year die from semi-truck drivers falling asleep while driving, and I want to help prevent that. Families everywhere are grieving loved ones. Why? Because drivers all over the world are being overworked, which causes them to fall asleep at the wheel. My product can prevent people from dying. My product will save lives. Thank you. Hello, my name is Olivia Frizzell, and my company's name is Val. According to National Highway Safety Administration, there's 100,000 accidents, 71,000 injuries, and 6,000 deaths every single year where semi-truck drivers fall asleep at the wheel and cause an accident. My first product is 2 clip-ons that go on your personal glasses that sense when your eyes are closed for more than 2.5 seconds, one of the clip-ons vibrate you awake. The longer your eyes are closed, the harder that the clip-on vibrates. These are for people who need sunglasses or glasses. My second product is a facial recognition camera that uses AI and a cushion that also senses when your eyes are closed for more than 2.5 seconds, the cushion vibrates you awake. The longer your eyes are closed, the harder that the cushion vibrates. My target market is going to be the Federal Aviation Administration, also called the FAA, and semi-truck drivers. Did you know that 56% of all commercial pilots have said that they've fallen asleep while flying at least once? And 29% say that they've fallen asleep to wake up to find the other pilot was asleep as well? I talked to Charles Sharman, an aviator who works for commercial aircraft, and he says about my product, this product would be an added layer of safety, especially for pilots, truck drivers, etc. Performing their jobs on the backside of the clock without the ability to rest, many times we think that we can just make it through that extra hour or so and power through. This product would save lives on the occasion someone falls asleep while trying to power through. The dashboard camera that I created could be used for more commercial airlines, especially during the nighttime since the AI can easily pick up the facial expressions, even when it's dark. Experts say that driving exhausted is similar to driving intoxicated or drugged. Someone who's been driving for more than 17 hours shows the same driving errors as someone with the blood content level of 0.100 in some cases. That's the same as someone who's 130 pounds having 4 alcoholic beverages. CDC states that 1 in 25 adults 18 years and older have reportedly fallen asleep at the wheel at least once. The alternate to my product is called the MyDoBuru. It's the same concept, glasses that have an alarm to alert drivers, but the difference is the alarm goes off when the driver's head goes below consciousness levels. The problem is some people while driving, their heads don't tip while trying to fall asleep. The ratings and reviews agree with me. My product, as soon as you even try falling asleep, it'll immediately wake you up. In 2003, my grandma, aunt, and older cousin were driving on I-5 to go to my grandma's friend's baby shower. They were having a completely normal day. Nothing was all usual. But what they didn't know was a sleep-deprived semi-truck driver was behind them. The semi-truck driver fell asleep at the wheel and ran my grandma, aunt, and older cousin over. They all died at the scene. Thousands of people each year die from semi-truck drivers falling asleep at the wheel. I never got to meet my grandma, aunt, or older cousin, but with my product, this can be preventable. I want to make it so no family has to go through what my family did. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivia, for presenting that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, we'll go ahead and begin our 4 minutes now. Put the timer on the clock here, and we can go ahead and begin our Q&A session for Olivia.
Does the dashboard camera and the glasses attachment, do they work together or separately?
They're actually separate products because the dashboard camera could be used for more like the aircraft, and I was worried that if the dashboard camera couldn't see maybe glasses or sunglasses just because, just in case, so I wanted to bring more safety to it and just make 2 products.
So you in general talked about target audience, but who is your actual customer?
My actual customer would probably be like the big industries that use semi-truck drivers, like the grocery stores and all that stuff, because I know that individual semi-truck drivers just wouldn't have to pay for it, I guess.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate your willingness to find a creative solution in something that's so personally impactful to you. And to Ty's point, I think that you have got a lot of target audiences,
Yeah.
and one could be the insurance industry. I imagine the commercial trucking businesses and the premiums they pay. There might be discounts on insurance even for those that have this kind of technology installed. I guess I like it feels like you've kind of hit all the bases. Like you've got things on the glasses, you got something under their rear, you got like, it's going to wake them up. And I really appreciate that. And I think the more kind of backup plans you've got, which I appreciate, probably the better. That's good work. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to swing back and think. So Casey's talked about the insurance industry. The insurance industry, I think, is there is a proper term for it, but they're more a collaborator with you on this. I think who you have kind of you have the interesting problem that you really are doing business to business marketing, but you also have to drive the consumer demand. So who you're going after is the original equipment manufacturer. You're going after the people who are manufacturing the trucks. You're going after the Boeings and Airbuses, but you've got to create the demand in the system, because it if it's not integrated at the time of manufacture, it seems like it's going to be a more difficult, more possible in a truck, but impossible in a plane to do this as an aftermarket.
Well, thank you very much, judges. Appreciate your questions, and thank you, Olivia, for working through the questions here. Let's go ahead and give a virtual round of applause for all of our contestants today. Excellent work, you guys. Thank you again. And again, you are 5 students that we had narrowed it down to out of roughly 125. So thank you again for all of your hard work and your dedication through this during a pandemic. So we appreciate that. What's going to happen next is that the judges, they are going to be deliberating, and they'll be discussing things, perhaps marketability, ethos or credibility, logos, the logical appeal, and pathos, emotional appeal. Really all of that kind of coming together to identify who our top 3 contestants are.
Evan, I can really relate to your product because I was working out at iTech and I saw when the kids lost their chargers. So that definitely appeals on the emotional side. So great work on your project, and you're doing awesome. Evan, we would like to award you 3rd place for this year's iPrize.
So in 2nd place, this one I had personal connection to. I could understand, in my job, I have a need for the product. And I also very much appreciated the very observational approach that was taken to figuring out that there was a need. And we would like to award Clark with second place in this year's iTech Awards.
All right, and in first place, we would like to award Nina for the Soul Project, and say I think there's just so much market potential here. We love that you're working with the deaf community on this product development. We love that you looked into the market and realized that the products that were out there trying to solve this issue weren't, and you created something that was really innovative that makes sense. This is something that can work for the deaf community, and it can also excite a wide consumer base outside of that community. There's a lot of potential for collaborations. We've got shoe companies in town that I think would jump at the chance to work on this with you. Great work.
Well, thank you all for the opportunity to judge this year's iPrize. And I really want to take a minute and just address both Olivia and Braden, both with significant innovations in the arena of just transportation safety. And especially that I imagine you're both young drivers or soon to be young drivers, and how much more important that is that we are all safe on the road. And I want to thank you for both your passion and dedication to tackling a difficult subject. And you made our work incredibly challenging in terms of finalizing the ranking. And in our opinion, you are all the finalists are winners, and we want to encourage you to continue to move forward your ideas. And there's an audience for them. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you, Casey, Karina, Ty, and Steve. Appreciate you guys being here today. I can't